Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are watching from. Welcome to Now You Get Now Me Get
Now we get time.
Talking about football. You know, when you're talking about football, you always put more emphasis on the Premier League. Because the Premier League is where the money is. The Premier League is where the speed. The Premier League is where the action is. The Premier League is where the drama is. Mr. Farrell, what do you have to say?
Before I start, let's say this particular podcast is open for sponsorship. So we're calling on all potential sponsors who want to be part of this sport arena. Now we get them to be part of us. Come advertise your product and your services. We have a platform where we can help you get the very best of marketing, the very best of exposure, as it were. So yes, you want to do that. The email is on the screen. The phone numbers are on the screen. Bring in your product. Let us help you advertise. And like I said, this is football and football. Today is the 1st of September in the year of our Lord 2023. The last day in the transfer window. And the most exciting day where you have the very best, the most shocking transfers that you will ever see happening. It's usually on the deadline. That's where you have unexpected transfers, players moving back and forth here and there. And I wouldn't say this year has been any more exciting than previous years. This year has been a bit on the down low. We've not had very good movement of players. It's been very scanty. I don't know if clubs are a bit hesitant, or perhaps it's because of the Saudi Arabia influence. People are rather going to the east.
They're keeping their players.
Rather than moving in the circle of the Premiership. It's kind of funny. We're hearing that Mohamed Salah might be moving to Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
Gone are the days where we see players moving at the 11th hour to the Premiership from the different leagues of the world. But this time around, we're seeing players moving from different parts of the world to Saudi Arabia.
All about the money.
Even from Premiership, players are moving to Saudi Arabia. Of course, it's all about the money. Football is about money. And usually when players get to the twilight of their career, they want to cash in. You know, when you get to that 28, 29, 30, this is the time when you want to consolidate, make money. It's no longer about the trophy. It's not about playing for the badge. It's about making money. And when you have the oil-rich region of Saudi Arabia bringing in all the money, and for Saudi Arabia, they're trying to develop their league. So they're getting the very best of players at their prime to come into their league, spending money of which they have. In the Saudi Arabia league, you see players getting up to $200,000-$300,000 a month, per week rather. This is something that is very hard to get. You have to be an A-level player.
But don't be surprised. The Saudi Pro League, they might be coming for the younger ones as well, because all they do, I know they have the money to spend, bring in the big names. They first brought the brands, the brands which are the Cristiano Ronaldo and the Benzema and the Neymar that follows now. But don't be surprised, they might be coming from for the young players as well. Let's move away from that. Let's go straight to what is happening in the EPL. You see players moving from one Premier League club to the other. Is it because of their experiences, or they are trying to muscle their financial weight on the lesser clubs in the Premier League?
It's not really about players wanting to muscle the smaller teams in the Premier League. That's one would imagine that's how it should be. Like, I would imagine that players should be moving within the Premier League because the experience is there. You already understand the environment. You understand how the leagues the teams play in that league. Rather than getting players from other leagues of the world like Italian Serie A, the Spanish La Liga, and the rest of them, and then it takes the player about a couple of months or a season or two to adapt. Wouldn't you rather get players from within the Premiership, especially the players who are doing very well in lesser teams? Like, I always make reference to the Argentine who moved from Brighton to Liverpool.
You're talking about this guy. This McAllister.
McAllister.
I used to call him McAllister.
Everyone could see that the moment he went to the World Cup, made even the first team in Argentina, he knew that it was bigger than Brighton. So the movement was inevitable. He was going to move at some point in time. So that kind of a person moving from Brighton to Liverpool would be a perfect fit. Has already made a perfect fit into the Liverpool first team. So you have those teams that are feeder teams that actually groom players that take care of sort of fillers for the bigger teams.
But I also believe, apart from the money, I also believe that they want an instant impact. But if you look at the way the last season result went in favor of Man City, Arsenal were in top for over 7 months, and now they find out that okay, this will be more challenging this season. Everybody are on the neck of Man City. Everybody on the neck of being a top 4. Everybody wants to play in Europe, you understand me? So instead of going for a player in the Serie A or the La Liga or Bundesliga or whatever, let's stick to the good players who have been tested here in the Premier League, so that we can at least keep the pace rolling, chasing the Man City, chasing for the top 4, chasing for the Europe spot. So according to the transfer speculation now, I learned that Maguire and Scott McTominay has been blocked, they were supposed to move respectively, one to West Ham, which is Maguire, and McTominay to Fulham. But it's unfortunate they're not going to be going. Anything might happen anyway. Anything might happen tonight because it's a deadline. Anything might happen. But with the injury this guy sustained, Rafa Varane, I know they've brought in Reguilon from Tottenham, but they will still want to keep Maguire because of his vast experience. Let's keep aside his mistakes.
What's it called? Man U is closing in on Amrabat. There's a possibility that he might just come into Man United, because of course he's not been part of the preseason for Fiorentina. He's not even been in the team actually since the Italian Serie A started. He's not even been part of a team. So there's this huge possibility that Amrabat might be coming to Manchester United. And of course, that's one player that I'm looking forward to playing in the Premiership. He's got all it takes. And talking about movement of players from one league to another, and then the fact that the concentration is on the Premiership this time around, that players move within the league. Every time that a player moves from outside the league, it has to be a proven player. It does happen that like you have Nunes, who's moving from Wolves coming into Man City. He's a misfit.
A tested player.
He's tested, but then again, he was a misfit for Wolves. But Guardiola saw something in him that, Wolves couldn't find. So sometimes players may not fit into a particular rhythm of a team, but then they move to another team, and then they pick up very easily.
From there.
So when you see players moving, like Gravenberch has moved from Bayern Munich now coming into Liverpool, for Klopp to have picked him, he has looked at him very carefully, and this was going to be a perfect fit for Liverpool. So usually when teams in the Premiership go out for a player outside the league, they have done a lot. The scouts have looked at you carefully for them to make those recommendations. However, it's still not a guarantee that player could come in and fit in it automatically. We make an instance of Hazard. Hazard was at the peak of his game while he was at Chelsea, and for about a decade he controlled the Chelsea heart, or the midfield of Chelsea. In fact, he was the engine room for Chelsea. And this same player moved with over 100 million pounds
to Real Madrid
and could not fit it.
He flopped.
No one would have imagined. For the very first time after Cristiano Ronaldo left, the only player they brought in that they felt could take over that number 7 jersey comfortably and play in the wings and drift into the midfield was Hazard. Unfortunately, only few matches into the season, he got an injury, and that was the decline of Hazard.
While we are talking about players moving from one club to another, we'll just mention one of the big 7. Like I said, it's no more the big 4, the big 7. We're talking about those who wants to escape relegation. And Everton have started badly, or let us say they've picked up where they stopped from last season, escaping relegation, and still giving that woeful performance. And I heard that the OB is being priced to Fulham. Now you go to Nottingham Forest. There is something about this coach that I don't understand. This guy loves these black kids. He loves black players. I'm not saying he doesn't love white, but he liked that physicality, that power. That was what helped the club to escape relegation last season. He has just completed the signing of Nuno Tavares from Arsenal, and Lanet wants to sell one of his prized player to Tottenham, from Brendan Johnson. I think for 50 million pounds. I think so. Then we have other players coming to Nottingham Forest as well. In the course of the discussion, we'll talk about it. Now go back to Fulham. Fulham did this. I don't know if it's a replication of what's going to happen again this season. Signing our own brothers. Nigeria, a lot of Nigerian players going to Fulham. Iwobi is going there. We already have Basi playing there. We have Aina playing there. This also happened. It was 2 seasons ago when they went to relegation. Yeah. Are you still seeing that, or will Marcus Silva change the course of that?
I don't see Fulham going on relegation this time around. I mean, you see how they started in the Premier League very, very nicely. However, the strength of a team in a Premiership is only determined after the second quarter, when the first half is over. When you get into that, is now when your bench will speak for you. So that's why you see teams like Manchester United will now open up the gap, because the reserve on the bench of Man City is an in-depth one, a team that the bench itself can actually feature as the first 11 of some middle teams in the table. I don't see Fulham going down this time around. They've got very, very experienced players up front. They've lost their main striker, who's purported to be going to Saudi Arabia as well. They brought in Raul Jimenez, who for me is tested but underrated. You know, but he's got a great influence over Fulham. So I think Fulham will do very well. They will struggle, but I don't see them. They're not candidates for the relegation this time around. Of course, bringing in some very experienced players like Tavares, bringing in Iwobi, it's a very big plus for them. Iwobi apparently was the main player for Everton, and it just concluded he was one of the fulcrum that actually helped the team to escape relegation. So, I mean, for him to bring in Bruno to bring him Iwobi, that's a very good calculation, and I think they will really go very far.
Man City did not stop there. They've not really stopped there. These guys, they just want to go all. They just want to monopolize the English Premier League back to back. You know what I'm talking about? Apart from Kovacic, they're still expecting more players to come maybe today. Now, I want us to turn the attention to Arsenal. We don't know what is happening. A lot of fans are complaining about, Arteta playing Kyle Havertz in the wrong position, thereby slowing the attacking prowess. What do you make of that?
Well, it's quite funny when Arsenal fans are expecting too much from Arteta. I'll say too much because he's a very young coach. He's only an understudy for a couple of years with Pep Guardiola, and as an understudy, he's trying to replicate exactly what he had in Manchester City. Unfortunately, the quality and the caliber of players you have in Man City are not the same thing you have
in Arsenal.
The financial muscles of Man City is not what is there in Arsenal. So all of these factors are not working for Arsenal. And then he's bringing in players that a lot of people don't think fit into the rhythm of Arsenal. Kyle Havertz is not the kind of player one would imagine will fit in. He's not an energy kind of player.
And they spent a lot of money on him.
They did. And then, unfortunately, he's playing, for me, out of position because he's supposed to be directly behind the strikers.
So we don't blame him for that.
No. Well, I don't know. I don't know what
he's playing according to the coach's instructions.
I don't know what the reasons. I mean, what the instructions from the coach's benches are for them to be allowing him to play where he's playing right now. You do know that guy does not have the strength, the stamina to be a box-to-box kind of midfielder.
I see Kyle Havertz. I see Kyle Havertz as a Ozil when it comes to strength. Ozil is football. We know that. Very talented. But when it comes to the English league now, you need strength. But you cannot, maybe because you do away with how would I put it, Xhaka to Bayern Leverkusen, and you want to build someone who's a left-footed player in his position. Xhaka is a different player entirely. He's technically and tactically sound. That guy knows when to position himself and when to play ball and the rest, and his experience. Kai Havertz is slow. So I don't think Kai Havertz will fit in well for the departed Xhaka. That's the only thing pulling Arsenal back, if you don't know. But for me, as the player is playing according to instruction from the coach. Because if you're not playing according to instruction from the coach, I don't think that guy will be on that pitch. He's not supposed to be on that pitch. His energy is too low and the rest. And you can see him, instead of playing the ball forward, he always play the ball backward. 1 touch, 2 touch. But for me, it's not working for Arsenal.
For now, I think Arsenal needs I'd say 2-3 players to make it a very formidable and a force to reckon with in the Premiership. If they can get one out-and-out striker, one holding midfielder, and one, just one holding midfielder, and then perhaps one central defender to help Saliba, or because he's prone to injury. That's about it. In other aspects of the game, I think they have a very good squad. It's a young squad. It's a vibrant squad. It's got a lot of energy, running power. They can run you down. But the problem is they don't know how to absorb pressure. So you need a very good defensive midfielder to complement someone like Partey. Getting from Chelsea, I don't know. He's not in his best form. So he's a bit more of an offensive than a defensive player. So I think if Arsenal can get one out-and-out striker, one holding midfielder to complement Partey, and one defender as well to complement Saliba, the team is good.
When it comes to formation, thank God you mentioned Partey. When it comes to formation, you mentioned Partey. Partey is being played out of position. Instead of playing Partey the normal traditional way last season, he did well last season, apart from losing form at the tail end of the season.
Yeah.
And you cannot blame that on him, because Saliba was the main person that missed last season. But the formation is not helping out. Imagine the back pass, and this guy picked the ball, and it literally scored Ramsdale, which for me, Ramsdale is becoming very complacent. For me, he should sit on the bench for next match. So, I suggest Odegaard, Rice, Partey should be in that midfield and play White as a traditional 2, the way it's been used last season. Partey should play as like the holding midfield, allow Rice and Rice that is full of energy and running should be free like Odegaard. What do you think? And Havertz should sit on the bench, bring in Trossard.
That's the difference between a winning team and a team that is just competing, just playing second fiddle. Because when you look at Man City, for instance, Man City does not rely on one player. When Fernandinho left last 2 seasons, everybody was thinking that would be
the end
of Man City. He brought in Rodri. Rodri was there. Rodri came into his full
and he's doing better.
Class, and he's doing fantastically well. You understand? So you do not focus a team like Arsenal. You do not put it. You do not try. It doesn't thrive on the strength of 1 or 2 players. The absence of Saliba should not. I hear people saying that Saliba was the reason why Arsenal did not win.
It's a reason. It's a factor. You cannot.
It's a factor.
No doubt,
it's not the main reason. It's a factor. So if you want to be a team that will win the Premiership is not a. It's a class of its own. It's a class act. It's just a very unique league in its own. You cannot be relying on 1-2 players. You need to have depth. And that's why I keep re-emphasizing that the second half of every league is when you distinguish the boys from the men. You look at the bench of Man City, it has that potential of even become all the people who play on the bench of Man City can comfortably fit into Arsenal first 11. Tells you that there's a huge gap. There's a huge difference between Arsenal and Man City. And so when you are out there, you want to win a league like the Premiership, and that's why Man City has been able to consistently win the league over and over again. And
they have that depth.
You will not doubt it that this time around they have that capacity to go all the way and win it. However, they might get competitions from the likes of Newcastle, who, because of their money, are buying quality players. And to tell you how important finance is in football is that when this player paid a lot of money, you get players paying over £200,000 per week. They bring out the best in them. You understand? So I do believe that Newcastle does have that quality to stretch Man City. That's the only team I see for now that has the capacity, the depth, and the wherewithal to stand with Man City. Player for player, pound for pound, cash for cash. They've got that capacity. They have the depth as well, and they're still bringing in players. Like we said, today is the last day of the transfer window. There's a high possibility we're going to see not that many players moving, but we will see some very significant movements. And one of them being Amrabat, that I'm looking forward to going to Man United. But you never can tell. You're surprised that at the 11th hour, player can just switch. So I'm looking forward to Newcastle beefing up a little bit on the striking role and a defensive midfielder.
Talking about Newcastle, they lost to Man City in the last game, though it was a narrow win for Manchester City.
Absolutely.
And what is really happening to Chelsea? We don't understand what is really happening to Chelsea. Raheem Sterling just picked form at the beginning of the season. He's doing well for Chelsea, but can he go all the way alone to save Chelsea from all their blushes, bringing them to the top four? Now they talk about winning the league. He's playing well, he's doing fantastic. Most of the goals scored this season is called, through Sterling. But the rest, I don't think, they not meet up to his own performance. Do you think that will put Chelsea back? Or what is Mauricio Pochettino thinking?
Well, I'm very excited about Chelsea this season. For the singular fact that they're not going to be in Europe, they're going to take time to build. That's what they need right now. Pochettino is a seasoned coach, very experienced, and he knows the kind of players he's bringing in. I mean, no player of an A-grade player wants to come to Chelsea right now, so he has to make do with what he has. Substandard sort of, for better lack of word, I'd say. Not so world-class players are coming into Chelsea now, but he has the kind of players that can actually push Chelsea to qualify for Europe. So that's the mandate that has been given to him, to make sure he qualifies Chelsea for Europe. And he's brought in some very, very good young players that can actually stretch and put for top four finish. And I see that happening with the restricted funds that he has now, and the fact that Chelsea does not have any place in Europe this season. The kind of players that are coming are comfortable. They don't have much stress. It's just going to be the Carabao Cup.
They're concentrated on the domestic
absolutely.
trophies.
So the emphasis is not in Europe. They're going to be well rested. They're going to be they're going to be stronger than some of the teams that are going to be playing in Europe, because they have a very formidable force this time around. So I do think that Chelsea will go for a top four finish this time around, because
I hope so. I hope so, because
they do because they have a very good coach. They have a very good team. I mean, Nkunku is firing from all cylinders. Jackson is in top form. You have Enzo, who's there as well. By and large, and I think Chelsea has a good team.
I hope so.
It has a good.
I hope so. I hope so, Mr. Farrell. Because the only thing that I know, if they continue with their performance now, is Tottenham. With the departure of their former captain Harry Kane to Bayern Munich, enjoying a new life over there in Germany, Son, the new captain, is making things happen. With the new coach who was brought from Celtic, I don't know, that's a Greek coach, I think. The name is. They are doing fantastic. As it stands, they've not lost any match apart from the Carabao Cup. They were knocked out via a penalty shootout. They've gotten 7 points in 3 matches.
Yeah,
that is a big point. What do you think about them? They are playing very well. This guy is playing. Mbesuma is playing well. Sarr is playing well. I mean, everything look rejuvenated. They've been born again, like a rebirth for the Tottenham.
Tottenham is not. I mean, Tottenham, for me, as far as I'm concerned, is not an exciting team. There's nothing spectacular about it.
They're getting results.
They're getting results. When you look at teams in the Premiership, and you look at the first 5 games, first 7 games. We had it with 3-4 seasons ago. You had a team like Southampton that did the same thing. Came out full, God blazing and all of that, and after a couple of names, started losing back-to-back games. So the first few games in the Premiership is not the time that you want to evaluate teams and say they're going to go all the way out.
But it gives you confidence.
It gives you confidence, but then again, they just lost their first game. You might say it's not a league game, but then again, it affects the mentality of the team. You find out that in Tottenham, for instance, they've got a very, very porous defense. Sanchez is
no more there. He's not fit.
He's not fit, and then again, you see he's not even. What replacement do you have again in the defensive line for Tottenham? You don't have.
No, we don't have. Apart from the Romeo and the rest.
Even the up front, the striking line, the pressure now.
Tanganga is leaving as well.
Alone. You see, and exactly. So Tottenham, I don't really see them. It's just what we call it initial gragra. They're just there for the moment. They'll fizzle out after a period of time. The teams that we should be looking out for are teams like Nottingham Forest. Look out for teams like Brighton.
In terms of what? Nottingham Forest. In terms of what?
In terms of
relegation.
Not relegation. In terms of causing some disturbances to the big four, as it were. These are teams that are as small as they are very compact. They're very resilient. They've got strength. They can run you and they can match you pace for pace, power for power, all through.
With what I'm seeing, my brother, with what I'm seeing.
That's why you see players are moving out. You see they're picking out. See the ball can side from Brighton to Chelsea. You've taken McAllister from Brighton to so these are feeder teams to the main teams. The top four you're talking about. They're picking out players from these small teams. So what these smaller teams are doing, they're giving platform, they're giving opportunities for these guys in the bigger four to look at them. So they want to go all out. And if you look at the policy of teams like Brighton, Southampton, these have been the feeder teams to the main four in the last couple of years. Their recruitment policy is just amazing. That's why you get a player like Minamino, not Minamino, the Japanese guy. He was brought in for about £2 million. Right now, his value has gone up to about 40-50 million pounds. Not Minamino, I've forgotten his name. So you see that kind of structure that they have, the developmental structure that they have, preparing these guys for the bigger teams. Players bought in for £2-3 million, and then the value over a period of 1-2 years goes up to 60-70 million pounds. That's good marketing. And for them, they know they're not going to win the league. They're just there for business and at the same time to represent. So those are the teams that I am very particular about. Those are the teams that I want to look at. Those are the teams that can actually easily take out 3 points from you. Like Arsenal always finds it very difficult to play against
these teams.
It's always hard.
You know, it's always hard.
Look at the performance against Arsenal versus Tottenham. It's always like that.
It's always hard. It's always hard when you find club, trying to escape for their life. You know, when you have lion chasing you, want to escape from your life. It's very hard. You run all. Even your toe might be touching your forehead when you are running.
Yeah.
So playing those kind of clubs, very, very difficult to pick point from them.
Yeah.
And before we go for that, want to do a run through. From the past result last week on the English Premier League. Chelsea defeating Luton 3-0. I think Sterling got 2 goals, got a brace there.
Yeah.
And Bournemouth losing at home to Tottenham. Arsenal drew 2-2 at home at the Emirates, Fulham. Then Brentford drew also 1-1 with Crystal Palace. Everton lost at home to Wolves. Man United narrowly came from behind and defeated Nottingham Forest, who were leading 3-2. Brighton suffered their first defeat of the season by 1-3. West Ham, they are still maintaining despite the fact that the champion has the 100% record, 9 points. West Ham still have 7 points. Like you say, it's early to justify who is going to be at the top 7 or who's going to be at the top 4. Not talk about winning the league. Man City is always a favorite. Aston Villa going to pick a point away. Sheffield United lose at home, the champions. And Liverpool beating their own men, Newcastle 2-1. The guys who are also in the Champions League this season. So, now, back to Liverpool. What do you think of the midfield after allowing Fabinho, Thiago is still there, Keita, Fabinho, Firmino, all those players left. The midfield looks somewhat porous, and Arnold Zander, that guy is like, he has lost his form. He doesn't have that confidence again. Is it because of the height he cut off the rasta? Now he's carrying a low cut, and the way he misses, loses concentration on the pitch matters a lot to me. It's no more that guy we used to know. It's not a defensive-minded player anymore.
Liverpool is going through a sort of rebirth, I'll say. It's a rebirth for them. Jurgen Klopp has sort of lost it, because you're losing your key players. You're not finding a way to hold them, and you're not getting the kind of quality for replacement. You're bringing Gravenberch, and then the possibility you probably might lose Salah, right? One would expect that if you're truly going to be competing for the league, you want to bring in quality players. You're losing a quality player like Salah. Who are you going to bring in? You've already lost Mane. Mane is gone, and then Firmino is gone. The quality of players that are bringing in does not, make up for the ones that you're losing. And then the other teams, your rivals, are bringing in quality players, or at least maintaining the ones that they have. So there's that unity, there's that synergy, there's this cohesion and understanding amongst the players, and that's why I think it's going to be almost impossible to dethrone Manchester City this season. So you're going to be playing against a very formidable team that knows themselves. So, and then you're bringing in players in likes of Gravenberg to come and start, and as a key player to come and start pick up the momentum, to bring that cohesion, which is almost going to be impossible.
The Nunes, don't forget Nunes going to Man City. Okay.
Yeah.
Before we go further, I want to ask this question. This is going to my Manchester United fans. What do you make of Andre Onana since he arrived from Inter Milan?
Let us drop your comments in the comment section. Let us know what you think about your different teams. I mean, do a shout out to all your teams. Do an analysis of your team. Tell us what you think and how you think this season is going to pan out. And you never know, we might be coming up with some prizes for our guests, or for our viewers, our fans. And remember, this podcast is also up for sponsorship. So check the link below, contact us, and be part of this exciting program. And we will be bringing up some very professional football players, experts, to talk about certain matches that will be going on during the Premiership season. And of course, the Champions League draw has just been rolled out. We will be talking about this next time on the podcast. So remember, this part is up for sponsorship. Bring in your products, your services. You couldn't get any better platform for your adverts. And so
make sure you enjoy this match.
Yes.
Match of the week.
Yes.
Arsenal versus Manchester United at the Emirates. Who are the real red? Is it the Red Devil or the red jersey guys, the Arsenal, the Gunners?
So what's your prediction on that game today?
I see a narrow win for Arsenal.
Okay. I'm going to leave mine neutral because I'm neither a fan of any of those teams. But I'm going to be excited.
Now me get now you get
now we get
So anyhow you want to put it.